just about, for this West Region first-round battle. And the tip is controlled by the Waves of Pepperdine.
All right, Dick, let's check out the defense. It looks like they're going to start in a man-to-man. You know, this game, we expect to go up and down the floor, a lot of running. But let's see what happens on the half-court situation, too. Now Pepperdine is pretty much a man-to-man team, and they'll open that way. I think you'll expect to see them in a man-to-man the majority of the ball game.
You pointed out both teams like to run. If anyone decides to play a deliberate style, it should be North Carolina State, but we'll see what Jim Valvano has in mind. Derek Wittenberg gets it to Thurl Bailey, takes the shot outside, an air ball, and we'll have a whistle and a foul as Bailey threw up the pass. There is Valvano, and the foul is called against Lorenzo Charles of North Carolina State. So let's pick up the Waves and their playmaking, and there you see Jim Harrick in his 4th year at Pepperdine. Subtle, number 14. He's the man to watch at guard. And the first basket of the game by Bill Sadler, the 6'6 senior. Both of these teams are experienced. They have 3 outstanding senior starters. Wittenberg going to Cozell McQueen. They want him to rebound. Thurl Bailey. They go low inside to Lorenzo Charles. And Charles going to the hoop. Out of bounds, still North Carolina State ball.
You see the ball go into Charles. When Wittenberg went out, they lost some outside shooting that forced them to go into Charles. That's been really the reason for his improvement. Look for that a little bit in this ball game. It really gives him a lift.
You're talking about Wittenberg, number 25 with the ball, and of course Sidney Lowe, 2 bulldozers of guard. There's Derek Wittenberg, and he misses outside, and we'll have another foul. And this one's against North Carolina State, and it's against Cozell McQueen. So the Wolfpack pick up 2 quick fouls. Cozell McQueen, the center of the team. We'll talk more about Derek Wittenberg, who missed 14 games for State. Pepperdine has the ball. They'll change from a running style to deliberate, just to change things up. With the UCLA background, Jimmy Harrick hitting outside with a smooth outside shot, Victor Anger.
I think that you're going to be very surprised at what a confident ball club and what a talented ball club Pepperdine is. You know, they play UCLA. They play all the good teams in the country. They'll play anybody. They're a very emotional team. They love to play big games.
North Carolina State won their big games in the ACC tournament. Lowe uses a screen from McQueen. McQueen gets the rebound, keeps it out to Wittenberg, and Wittenberg can't hit, and they're going to keep trying until they get it because that's NC State style. Thurl Bailey at the free throw line. Fighting inside is Charles, and we'll have a foul. This time it's against Pepperdine. First foul of the game against the Waves from Los Angeles.
Well, Jim Valvano told us his ball club was going to come out and play just like they played in the ACC. They're going to force the offense. They're going to shoot the shot when they get it. You've seen Wittenberg take some very long ones, but expect to see him take them the whole game. He must be a threat so they can look inside to Charles and Bailey.
Sidney Lowe, the most valuable player of the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament, number 35. He and Wittenberg have played together through high school at DeMatha in Washington, D.C. They're an experienced group, and they missed the 7th straight shot. McQueen, no basket, and we'll have another Pepperdine foul. So North Carolina State has missed its first 7 shots, trailing 4-0 here, and the personal foul is on Bill Sadler. North Carolina State, in its 11th championship appearance. They were the NCAA champions back in 1974 when they beat UCLA in the semifinals and Marquette in the championship game.
Now, North Carolina State's had the ball for about 2 minutes here. They're 0 for 7, but in the zone, Pepperdine can't control them on the offensive board.
Bailey misses the shot, make it 0 for 8, but the rebound, as you said, North Carolina State, Lorenzo Charles, and now Lowe misses, and we'll have another Pepperdine foul. So NC State is owning the ball, but they're not just putting it through the hoop.
The Pepperdine people, when the shot goes up, are running right towards the basket. They've got to find somebody to block out. There have been some long rebounds, and they haven't gotten those.
Bill Sadler commits the foul. NC State now 0 for 9. Make it 0 for 10. And picking up the loose ball is Dane Suttle. Watch Suttle, all-time leading scorer for Pepperdine. Out to the playmaker and the top defensive guard, Wilson, and traveling called. So NC State will go on offense again. You talked about how Valvano wants them to shoot. Of course, they played with the 30-second clock and the three-point line in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and that's what NC State used to their advantage during conference play. Not about to change now that there's no clock or three-point arc. Wittenberg goes in, and he's called for the offensive foul. Take that traveling against Wittenberg.
He forced his way between two people, knocked somebody down, but they whistled him for the travel before the charge.
4-0. The Waves lead. 16:38 to go in the first half. For two teams that were expected to run and gun, off to a slow-paced first half. And there's Dane Suttle averaging nearly 24 points a game.
But Pepperdine's only gotten off to a slow start on the defensive board. They've been very good on the offensive end in the half-court situation.
Low going inside. They found that they couldn't hit from outside, and so we have a foul. Victor Anger, his first personal foul. And that is the fourth team foul against Pepperdine. So far, Wittenberg and Bailey, who are accounted for the scoring for North Carolina State, are 0 for 8 from the field, respectively. Total 0 for 8, and so Sidney Lowe is on the line, shooting 2. Pretty good free throw shooter, averaged over 12 points a game.
And of course, Sidney, once again, with the injury to Wittenberg, not only did he have to do his ball handling chores and quarterbacking chores, but he proved, and that was the question for it, he proved that he could score. And now they've got him, he can perform both roles now.
Of course, Wittenberg broke a foot in the 10th game of the season against Virginia, missed 14 games. And North Carolina State got off to a 7-1 start, lost 5 of their next 6, had a struggle. Trailing here 6-2 in the first half. Nearly 4 minutes gone by. Dick Stockton and Steve Brody here at Gill Coliseum in Corvallis. Loop it in, and a missed shot. Orlando Phillips under the hoop, and now North Carolina State comes back. Low to Wittenberg. Looks like they're going to give Wittenberg that outside shot. Thurl Bailey at the free throw line. North Carolina State not only has missed, they haven't come close to most of those shots. That tells the story. Pepperdine 3 for 4, but NC State getting a lot more chances. Dane Suttle misses, and the rebound is in by Orlando Phillips, who is second in the nation in field goal percentage. And you see why, and most of them are layups and dunks, and we saw an example right there.
Well, Jim Herrick will tell you, he doesn't go beyond the block. He'll shoot the little turnaround jumper. He'll put the ball up on the board. He's tough to control inside.
6-point lead for Pepperdine. Muscling his way in is Lowe, and an offensive foul called against Sidney Lowe.
And I would say of all the calls that I very seldom see college officials call is that one right there. When the offensive man and the defensive man are moving together and the offensive man jumps into defender, he initiates the contact. That was the proper call and a good one.
We have not seen the running game yet from either side. Both sides working the ball. North Carolina State in his zone. Nearly 5 minutes gone by in the first half.
Boy, oh boy, that's impressive right there.
Dane Suttle from the corner, quick passing. Keep in mind that Jimmy Herrick has that UCLA background, so they know how to pass the ball and handle it. We're live at Gill Coliseum in Corvallis for the West Region first-round battle between North Carolina State and Pepperdine. And there is Lorenzo Charles, who has averaged over 11 points a game in his last 7 contests. He's their inside player, and that's the first basket for the Wolfpack. They're 1 for 12 from the field. Suttle. Wilson misses outside. The other guard, but the Waves maintain possession.
If you expected coming into this game to see a Pepperdine ball club that ran up and down, was undisciplined, they've already disproven that point. They look for the good shot, they get it inside, they're a good passing team.
Orlando Phillips couldn't do it inside. North Carolina State tight defense. Derek Wittenberg pulls up with the arc shot and throws up another air ball, but Lorenzo Charles is there. The basket counts and a foul. Wittenberg can find the hoop, but North Carolina State stays within 4 despite some horrendous shooting.
Dick, it's not too early for a timeout on Pepperdine's part. They could be, I'm telling you, it's 10-6. They could be up about 6, 8, 10 points if they would rebound. They've got to get a timeout and talk about blocking out. That's a fundamental. You got to do the fundamentals to win in the NCAA tournament.
Lorenzo Charles on the line. The foul was Orlando Phillips, his second. And the 15th foul against Pepperdine. But NC State owning that offensive glass so far in the first half. 10-6, Pepperdine leading NC State.
Now remember, they're in a zone again. After the missed free throw, they're in the zone. This is where they've had trouble getting that defensive board.
Wittenberg is guarded by Mark Wilson, 6'2" junior guard, and Wittenberg finally hits the shot. First basket for Derek Wittenberg, who averaged over 16 points a game. And it's a 10-8 ball game.
You know what's so interesting, Dick? When you get a guy who's a good shooter and he's off to a bad start, sometimes you don't pressure him. Make him start thinking about it. That time they pressured him, and he shot it right in.
Missing inside was Victor Anger, and North Carolina State looking to tie the ball game. They've trailed all the way here. They have hit just one basket, and just about 7 minutes gone by in this first half. Wittenberg uses his body inside, misses. Loose ball, the Waves have it. Subtle with a good feed inside. Here's Sadler. Subtle misses again. And Lowe gets the rebound. Keep in mind that Pepperdine is a fine shooting team, third in the nation. So if they're not hitting their shots, that's bad news for Jim Harrick and his Waves.
4 of the 5 starters for NC State shoot under 50%. He says he shouldn't have any trouble with a team that shoots that poor of a percentage.
And 4 of his 5 shoot over 50%.
That's a tough shot. Come on.
Wittenberg has thrown up 3 air balls so far, and an error by Mark Wilson as he caught the ball, and it's still North Carolina State possession. We're going to take a break with 12:19 remaining in the first half. It's really very simple, this game, especially the way Pepperdine plays it. When they shoot over 50%, they win. When they don't shoot 50%, well, they lose. Right now, they're over the 50% mark. They're in a tight game. Look at North Carolina State. Look how many more shots they have. Pepperdine just not doing the job off the board.
They're not. And, you know, Pepperdine shoots such a high percentage because they get good percentage shots. They usually get the rebound, run it down the floor, and get that good 15-footer. They'll shoot the 15-footer if they get it. But when you're being dominated on the boards, there's a tendency to not run because you've got to concentrate so much. The guards have to stay in and control the boards.
Derek Wittenberg in the crowd brings it out, and in the ball game is Terry Gannon, a sophomore guard from Joliet, Illinois, number 24, and he hits the shot. Well, if there's a man to come in off the bench for North Carolina State who can hit the shot, it's Terry Gannon, who's a 53% shooter. Coming right back is Victor Anger, the center from Oxnard, California. So I think for the first time we've had baskets by both teams in successive times up the court. 12-10, Pepperdine leading, 11:45 remaining in the first half. But Thurl Bailey misses, so he has not hit a shot yet and has not scored.
Everyone's wondered how the shot clock would affect ACC teams, especially because they had such a short one. I'm seeing the effects right now. 9 out of every 10 shots they've taken has been a bad shot. There you see Subtle with a nice jumper.
54% from the field, a great free throw shooter. If he played at a bigger school, some people say all you've been hearing about would be Dane Subtle. But he plays at Pepperdine. Of course, this is a chance for them to prove themselves. Gannon, who hit his last shot, misses this time. Thurl Bailey tries to keep it alive. And also in the ball game, Alvin Battle, a 6'7" junior. So going to his bench early is Jim Valvano. And there is Alvin Battle, the junior from Rocky Mount, who had a fine game against Virginia in the ACC championship game. And Orlando Phillips, who's the best inside player for Pepperdine, has quickly picked up his 3rd personal foul. 11:05 remaining in the first half. Dick Stockton and Steve Grody here at Corvallis. Pepperdine leading North Carolina State 14-10. NC State unable to hit their shots, but they've had a bundle.
Now, I'm saying these are bad shots that they're taking, but evidently these are the shots they've taken all year long, and maybe they're just not falling.
Like you said, they can't change now after 27 games. Wittenberg hits the shot outside. Derek Wittenberg, not a 50% shooter, but a clutch shooter during the season, and Pepperdine lead cut to 14-12. Keep in mind, at the conclusion of tonight's championship game, Steve Grody and I will select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Subtle turn around and is fouled by Derek Wittenberg. Orlando Phillips on the bench with 3 fouls. And so going
The foul number 25.
into the game was Grant Gondrezick, a 6'4" swing man. So Gondrezick is in there along with Anger, Sadler, Suttle, and Wilson. And on the line is Dane Suttle, 84% free throw shooter.
You did it to him. But with Orlando Phillips on the bench, it goes without saying you lose 20 points a game, 9.5 rebounds a game. Plus, the other thing is when you can go inside, you kick it back out, you got all those nice 15-footers for Suttle and the rest of the boys.
3-point lead for Pepperdine. They've led all the way in this game. 10:20 remaining in the first half. We expected a running game. We've had anything but. Terry Gannon. Low. Wittenberg again. And Wittenberg hits. And if you're a good shooter, as Derek Wittenberg is, you don't stop firing away, because that's what got him here. And so Pepperdine lead cut to 1 now with 10 minutes to go in the first half. Dwayne Suttle. See how often they go to Suttle. Knocked out of bounds, and it's still Pepperdine ball.
I really believe with Phillips out of the game now that you're going to see Suttle take over and possibly force a little bit more offensively.
Well, when you consider that Thurl Bailey hasn't scored and Wittenberg is 3 for 10, it's a 1-point game. Pepperdine in front. Back live in Corvallis, we haven't seen either team play up to their style, and of course there have been a lot of upsets in this NCAA championship. Keep in mind that, well, here in the first game of our first round action, Princeton upset Oklahoma State 56-53, and they'll play Boston College Sunday. And the winner of this game between NC State and Pepperdine will go against the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, also Sunday. Gondrezick, whose brother Glenn plays for the Denver Nuggets of the NBA. NC State changes its defense often. They're in the zone right now, and they go low inside to Sadler. Sadler misses in the rebound, pulled down by Lorenzo Charles. Here's State opening it up a little bit. Wittenberg has hit his last three, and Derek Wittenberg, 4 for 11 from the field, puts North Carolina State in front for the first time.
Well, they're doing exactly what Jimmy Valvano told us they would do. They're going to keep coming at you. They're going to keep shooting the ball.
Loose ball off the rim, and we're going to have a foul. It'll be against Pepperdine. Carmel Stevens, a senior guard from Los Angeles, is in the ball game. The foul was on Grant Gondrezick, and that's the first foul. That's the 7th team foul against Pepperdine, and so North Carolina State will go to the line and shoot one on the penalty.
I guess the thing that I'm most surprised about, Dick, after we talked to Valvano, he left us with the impression that his inside players were tall, but they were finesse players. I'll tell you what, I'm seeing some strong, aggressive play around the basket, more than I've seen from most teams all throughout the season. And that's the difference in the game right now.
Lorenzo Charles missed the front end. NC State still leading by 1, so Carmel Stevens in the game along with Wilson. Suttle is out of the game, getting a breather right now, and when Suttle is out, they like to go inside. They do right now. Sadler, ball passed badly and off the hands of Gondrezick. NC State coming right back. Sidney Lowe. Thurl Bailey goes up and he's fouled. Thurl Bailey has not scored yet. He led NC State in scoring and rebounding for the 3rd year in a row. He has yet to score. Victor Anger picks up his 2nd personal foul, and going to the line to shoot 2 will be Thurl Bailey. I have to think Valvano thinks that his team is now settling down, hitting some shots, and starting to run a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you what, Thurl Bailey has not hit a shot. And when a player hasn't made one, you got to make him shoot the ball in the basket before you play him.
Remember what Herrick, the coach of Pepperdine, told us? The man we really worry about is Thurl Bailey. If he gets 25 to 30 points, we're in trouble. We have to keep him under 20. He's 0 for 6 from the field and looking for his 2nd point.
I got to believe the Pepperdine coaching staff is really befuddled. I don't think they ever expected to see the first 12 minutes of the game played like this.
NC State controlling now. 8:35 remaining in the first half. North Carolina State trying to be perhaps a Cinderella team in this championship tournament. Missing inside, and here come the Wave. Controlling the ball, Carmel Stevens, a playmaker, coming off the bench. He has not played all that much this year. Both teams going to the bench early. In the middle, Bill Sadler. And Sadler has not done much as they try to go in. North Carolina State effective, clogging the middle when it goes to Sadler.
And that's what they're concerned about. Sadler in the middle against a zone is as creative as any player in the country. They would expect to get points when he gets the ball in that position.
Muscling in on the baseline. Lorenzo Charles misses. Fight for the loose ball. Gondrezick, and it's picked up by the Waves, and they give it to the playmaker. That's Carmel Stevens.
Other than complete domination on the backboard, it's been the changing, trapping North Carolina State half-court defense, which has prevented Pepperdine from really getting into their offense. The shots that they normally get aren't there.
And they can't get inside. You look at the clock, 7:35 remaining in the first half. Pepperdine, Gondrezick, streak shooter. Low, the rebound out to Wittenberg. Pepperdine is back on defense. Wittenberg decides not to drive. Low, Gannon, good outside shot. There he is, Terry Gannon. Terry Gannon, 59% beyond the three-point arc, and that would have been a three-pointer in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
In almost any league.
19-15, NC State opening up their biggest lead of 4, nearly 7 minutes remaining in this first half.
And now you get the feeling NC State is really playing their game, both offensively and defensively. I would expect against this type of a defense, Dick, somebody's got to drive the ball to the basket.
Cozell McQueen, who started the game, comes into the ball game.
Number 45, Cozell McQueen.
And he replaces Lorenzo Charles. Also back in the game is Mark Wilson, the playmaker, who teams with Gondrezick at guard. Suttle is in there too, and McQueen might have got a hand on that shot inside by Anger. And it's North Carolina State ball. 4-point lead, 6:45 remaining in the half.
But that's my point. This is the most extended zone I've ever seen. In that situation, a guard's got to drive the ball to the basket, make the good pass, and now Pepperdine just has to put one down.
Since missing the first 11 shots, the Wolfpack have hit 8 of 15 from the field. Wittenberg hitting 3 of them. Thurl Bailey, the turnaround, and he hits. One thing about NC State, and maybe it comes from Valvano, who's really a loose coach. He's really not cut from the mold of the other Atlantic Coast Conference coaches, not quite as conservative. Loose team, confident, emotionally high. They stuck with their plan. Keep shooting till you get it. They lead by 6, 21-15. That's Victor Anger from the corner.
Dick, well, I'll tell you what that shot clock does. It forces you to learn how to make a one-on-one move, and it forces you to become a confident shooter. I'm telling you, NC State, you can tell when they turn and shoot, they think they're going to make it, and now they're starting to make it.
Thurl Bailey with a neat inside pass to Lowe. Lowe controlling again outside. McQueen at the key. Bailey fighting for the loose ball, kicked around and controlled by Bill Sadler of Pepperdine. Pepperdine can come within 2 now. They led most of this first half. 5:25 remaining. Gill Coliseum in Corvallis, Oregon. Western Region first-round action. Gondrezick goes in low inside Sadler. Sadler's foul. 6'6" senior from New York.
Well, you can see he's got a lot of shake and bake. He's a creator. When he gets up in the air, you can be pretty assured that he's gonna make one of the 6'11" people foul him inside. Did the good thing there, took it right to the basket.
Foul is on Cozell McQueen. That's his 2nd personal foul and the 5th team foul on North Carolina State. Coming back in the ball game is Lorenzo Charles. Charles has scored 4 points, and going out quickly is McQueen, who saw a brief action. So Sadler is on the line, and he'll be shooting 2. He's a good free throw shooter. And maybe I just shouldn't say it anymore. These are good free throw shooters with one exception, Phillips. But Sadler misses the front end. Three-point game. North Carolina State in front. 5:16 to go in the first half. It's been a championship of upsets so far in the NCAA. In the first game, Princeton upset Oklahoma State. Pepperdine looking to upend NC State here.
And Dick, the other thing I'm interested in seeing, the first-round games, they've either been played tentatively or tightly because the scoring has been so low.
Lorenzo Charles, good second effort, gets the hoop. Good inside player. Is a factor down the stretch for North Carolina State, leading in field goal percentage for his team. And they open it up to 5 again. 4:45. Keep in mind, Brent Musburger in New York We'll have highlights and scores to bring you up to date on this fast-moving NCAA championship. Missing was Dane Suttle. Coming down now, Charles with the rebound. And Terry Gannon gets it now to Sidney Lowe. Wittenberg moves to the corner. Gannon and Wittenberg, two good outside shooters. Inside, Thurl Bailey over the outstretched arm of Anger, and the rebound and a foul inside. And good battling. Lorenzo Charles has 7 rebounds and is 3 for 6 from the field as he goes to the line.
Now let me tell you, this is one tough shot. But there you see, when everybody goes for the block, the NC State people really know how to fill the lanes and go to the board.
Pepperdine getting into foul trouble up front. Victor Anger picked up his 3rd personal. Orlando Phillips, their best power man, has 3, and Sadler has 2. Charles misses. 23-18, NC State leads. And making his first appearance in the game will be Andy Johnson, a 6'5" junior and a transfer from Northridge, California. He was a walk-on. Charles 0 for 3 from the line.
Well,
he's missed them all. Sadler the rebound. 4:15 to go. NC State leading by 5.
Dick, they're playing a box zone and a chaser now on Dane Suttle. Okay, they are in a box zone and they're chasing Suttle all over the floor. With Phillips out of the lineup, they're going to put extra pressure on the other big scorer. Now watch. This is good. They bring it out. Now, what are they doing to us? Okay.
Gondrazic. They quickly go inside. Sadler. That one counts in a foul. They've been trying to work that play into Sadler all night, and then finally it works. Sadler gets his first basket.
Well, this is where Sadler's at his best. Look, he jumps, knowing that he's got enough moves that when he gets the ball in the air, he'll somehow get it to the basket.
Personal foul was on Lorenzo Charles, his 2nd foul. There is Bill Sadler from New York City. Good passer, quite a showman, will go to the line. Alvin Battle, number 33, comes in for Charles, who goes out with 2 fouls. But here's Sadler, 3-time all-conference performer. And it's 23-20, so it's a tight game. 3:44 remaining in the first half. Back at Corvallis with 3:44 to go in the first half. North Carolina State is leading Pepperdine 23-21. And of course, we have really not seen any of the senior stars we talked about at the top really get unleashed. Derek Wittenberg, they were 7-1, North Carolina State, before Wittenberg broke his foot. They lost 5 of the next 6. He came back and he gave them tremendous psychological lift. And of course, they finished strong and won the ACC tournament. He's a man they need.
Oh, they really do. I mean, anytime you got a guy who can put a streak together from the outside like that and get hot, we've seen what he can do already in this ball game. Terrible shooting percentages on both sides.
Battle hits from the baseline.
That was the first very nice move and good play we've seen.
Former junior college All-American Battle, Alvin Battle.
But that makes NC State 10 for 32 from the field. Pepperdine 9 for 23. Take a look at from the free throw line, 3 for 5 and 3 for 8, respectively.
Bill Sadler, ball knocked out of bounds, and it is still Pepperdine ball. 3:17 to go. NC State has out-rebounded Pepperdine 22-17, and Lorenzo Charles has 6 of those. Scoring by the front line, 14-13. It's Bailey, Charles, McQueen for North Carolina State. Anger, Phillips, and Sadler. Gondrazic against the NC State zone. Tip, and the race for the loose ball, and Wilson has it for Pepperdine.
All right, here we go now. Broken court situation. This is him at his best.
And Suttle misses the layup. Anyone's ball, and it comes down to Gannon, and now it's a 2-on-1. Pepperdine gets back nicely on defense, and throwing the ball away is Sidney Lowe. He was going for Wittenberg, and Pepperdine goes on offense again.
I think this is an important possession for Pepperdine. 25-21, they're down, 2.5 to play. Run a little bit of time, make sure you get a good shot.
Keep in mind, as you look at that backcourt scoring, you're talking about Dane Suttle averaging over 23 points a game. Right now, Suttle has 7 points to lead his team, but certainly not prolific. 2:25 remaining in the first half. NC State leading by 4, 25-21. NC State coming in 20-10. 10 losses, a lot of losses, but as Valvano said, they played 9 teams in the top 20. 2:10 to go. Suttle can't make it. Thurl Bailey the rebound. Wolfpack on offense. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Derek Wittenberg inside to Bailey. And we'll have a foul. It'll be on Andy Johnson of Pepperdine. That's the time remaining. And so Thurl Bailey will go to the line and shoot 1 in the penalty. Jim Valvano coached at Iona, brought him to 2 NCAA championships. This is his 3rd postseason appearance. Actually, his 4th in 5 years as Bailey shoots. Loose ball, Pepperdine, orange shirts all over the place, and is taken down by Sadler. So a chance to come within 2 with 1:48 remaining in the first half. Brent Musburger will have scores and highlights of championship action this evening, coming up at halftime.
Dick, to me, the fellow that's had the most success in this ball game has been Sadler. I'd go inside to him.
And that's
there you go.
Here. Bill Sadler has a chance for his second three-point play. They're not hitting outside. They go to the Sadler.
Well, Sadler knows how to get position inside, and once again, when he gets in there, he's a creator. You know, they blocked a couple of his shots, but you've got to be impressed that he's gone back in time and time again. There you see, it gets a little hesitation. In a game like this, you just knew he wasn't going to complete the three-point play.
But it's 25-23 North Carolina State. The foul was on Battle, his first. Sadler is the leading scorer with 8 for Pepperdine. Wittenberg has 8 for NC State, and Thurl Bailey now has 5 points. The reason why Pepperdine has to go inside, Suttle, their big scorer, is 3 for 10 from the field, Steve.
Well, I don't think he's probably seen defensive pressure like he's seen today from not only man-to-man, but also help defense situations.
That's Mark Wilson. And at the end of the game, they go to him. He hits some clutch shots, and Mark Wilson averaging under 6 points a game. Less than a minute to go, North Carolina State, 27-25. Trailed the early part of this game, and they've maintained the lead, but no team's been able to open it up. It's been a strange first half.
You said it all right there, Dick.
Terry Gannon controlling outside. Mark Wilson, the best defensive guard for Pepperdine, on him. Sidney Lowe, the coach on the floor, according to Valvano. Smartest player he ever coached. Gondrezic out to meet him. Wittenberg. This is a perimeter team. They can go inside, but looks like they're setting up outside. Watch the clock. 20 seconds to go in the half. 27-25. NC State in front. Pepperdine the underdog here. Well, they've been victorious in the first round. The last 3 times they've been here. NC State loses it out of bounds. Battle lost it. Pepperdine can tie it up with 9 seconds to go in the half.
The way these teams have played, it would be all justice to just start over.
And there's the shot by Dane Suttle, and in the Gondrezic, picked up by Sadler, and there's the buzzer ending the first half. And I'm sure both of these coaches have a lot to say to their teams. NC State 3 for 9 from the free throw line, and Pepperdine 3 for 6.
Dick, this is what I'm interested to see in the second half. If Pepperdine gets out on the break, starts making some of their shots, will NC State come down and continually shoot the ball quickly like they did in the first half?
Wittenberg is number 25. Thurl Bailey 41. Bailey takes the baseline shot, trapped against the glass. McQueen comes out with it. Cozell McQueen 45, the center. Lorenzo Charles, number 43, is the other forward, and of course Sidney Lowe, number 35, is the playmaker for NC State. Bailey swings it to Wittenberg, who's guarded by Dane Suttle. Pretty good matchup. Pepperdine normally a man-for-man team, playing that way right now. Charles out to Lowe. Bailey. Wilson, the guard, helps out on Bailey when they go inside to double team.
It looks to me like they're really looking to go inside, take advantage of McQueen and Bailey's height inside. Now, the best situation is to have Wittenberg and Bailey on the same side. So if you get the sag help off the guard, Wittenberg can get the jumper.
Bailey misses the shot. Fight for the loose ball. Lorenzo Charles. He has shown terrific hustle and leading North Carolina State in rebounding, second during the regular season.
Dick, usually time of possession is a football stat, but I'd love to know what time of possession is in this basketball game.
NC State should paint that ball red and white, I would think. Minute and a half gone by in the second half, 27-25. NC State has taken a couple of shots.
You take a look. They're going to look inside. They look to be slowing it down a lot more.
This is the way they started out the first half. Charles in the crowd, the basket, good.
I don't know if that's going to count. I don't think it should. No, it's not going to. Good decision. Foul was on the dribble right when he put it on the floor. Somebody went after it.
Foul is on Mark Wilson. That is his first personal foul. NC State will inbound. They go all the way out to McQueen. Wittenberg. Low. Low, Wittenberg, and Bailey working on a triangle at one side. And Charles is down low against now a zone defense for Pepperdine. They started this half in a man-to-man. They switched to the zone.
It looks to me like they're making an attempt to get the ball to Bailey all the time because he's a good shooter. Plus, at 6'11", he can make the pass over the defense.
Wittenberg's shot doesn't go, and the rebound picked off by Orlando Phillips. Keep in mind, Phillips and Anger have 3 personal fouls each. 2 of the top inside players for Pepperdine. So let's identify the players now. 52 is Victor Anger. 14, Dane Suttle, the top scorer on the team, and an offensive foul called against Bill Sadler, and that'll be his 3rd personal foul.
Well, this is a good call. Now, Sadler had so much success inside going to the basket, he goes right back to it, but it was a good call. Incidentally, Dick, 17:31 left. NC State had the ball for 2 minutes and 15 seconds in this ball game, so in the second half.
And they didn't score. Terry Gannon coming into the ball game, and McQueen goes out. So right now, Gannon is in there, along with Wittenberg and Lowe. So 3 guards are in there for North Carolina State. First time they've used a 3-guard offense in this game.
Well, you know, in the first half, when they got off to a slow start and couldn't make a shot, it was Gannon that came in and got him off running. He hit the first jumper.
Back and forth they go. No one seems to want the ball. And now coming up is Victor Anger. Dane Suttle hits the jump shot. Dane Suttle, 3 for 11 in the first half. And an outstanding shooter. Pepperdine really has no chance unless Suttle can get it going. And it's a tie at 27. Thurl Bailey turnaround shot. So now the scorers will try to take over here. Suttle for Pepperdine. Bailey, of course, Wittenberg also. State has the lead again. Gill Coliseum, Corvallis, Oregon, live. Dick Stockton along with Steve Brody. West Region first round action. Suttle misses this time, but coming up with a rebound, Orlando Phillips, and he's fouled by Bailey of NC State.
Well, we've seen Thurl Bailey so much with the ball then on the offensive end. Now, Orlando Phillips does a great thing. He gets the ball. This is what I like about big guys. Guys that'll go and just try to jam it home. Take it inside on the big people.
No one has done well from the free throw line. Phillips during the year really had his problems at just over 50%. Everyone else seemed to do well as Phillips misses the first free throw. The foul, by the way, was on Bailey, his first. First team foul on North Carolina State. And Phillips misses both. Charles the rebound. NC State trying to push the ball up. Gannon goes to Bailey and Lowe. And Bailey hits the shot. So the observation a moment ago, no question, NC State wants to go to Thurl Bailey.
They're getting it in his hands every time to either shoot the ball or look over the defense and make a good pass.
4-point lead for NC State. Their biggest lead was 6. Pepperdine had an 8-point lead right at the start at 10-2. Ball was passed away. Dane Suttle, and it's NC State going on offense. 31-27. The Wolfpack leading. ACC champions for the first time since 1974 when they won the national championship. David Thompson, Tom Burleson, Monty Tao, Tim Stoddard, and the pitcher with the Orioles. Lowe and Gannon.
Dick, no one's going to say this has been a pretty ball game, but for the NC State people, let me tell you, they've completely taken Pepperdine out of their game.
Gannon misses outside. The rebound. Dane Suttle taking it all the way in the crowd out to Wilson, the playmaker. That they have done because Jimmy Harrick said there's only one way the Waves will play, and that is to run. Keep in mind, they're one of the highest scoring teams in the country. West of Houston, no one has scored more than their 81 plus. 31-27, North Carolina State in white has the lead.
Now there's a great mismatch here. You've got Sidney Lowe guarding Anger. He's got to be giving up 6 inches, but they don't go inside to him. But he gets the rebound.
Wilson missed outside, and Anger comes inside for the rebound, and it's 31-29 NC State. 14 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. Plenty of time. This has been a game without a fast break. The two teams who are known for running. And Pepperdine continues to slow it up and bring it up with Mark Wilson. Why can't they run even when they get the rebound?
NC State is doing a great job getting back. And on the half-court situation, this is what they're doing so well. They're in a zone defense right now, but they're extending it.
Inside and no basket. Orlando Phillips going in, and there's a foul on North Carolina State. Foul is on Thurl Bailey. It's his second personal foul. And the second team foul on NC State. Both sides with 2 team fouls. Coming back in the ball game for NC State is their sophomore center from Bennettsville, South Carolina, Cozell McLean. And going out is Terry Gannon. Timeout, 14-12 remaining in the game. 31-29, NC State lead. Dick Stockton and Steve Grody back in Corvallis. North Carolina State leading Pepperdine 31-29. The road to Albuquerque continues tomorrow on CBS. NCAA Basketball Championship continues with regional coverage. Check your local listings. Exciting games in all of the regions as we move closer to the regional matchups coming up next week. 14:05 going on the clock here in the second period. Keep in mind that Pepperdine with the ball now, their front line, all of them have 3 personal fouls apiece. Victor Anger on the follow-up, one of the few times Pepperdine has had the offensive rebound, and Anger now with 10 points is the high scorer in the game and the first player to go to double figures for either side in the contest.
And the Pepperdine people will tell you Anger's as talented as anyone on the team. He's gotten the last 2 baskets, both on offensive rebounds.
Wittenberg taking his first shot, and it's a good one in the second half. So North Carolina State breaks our 3rd tie of the game, 33-31.
Now NC State with McQueen back in the ball game is in the zone. But now you can see from this picture they're extended, and they'll put pressure on the man if he's in a shooting position.
Wilson swings it around Subtle with a move on Bailey, tipped away by Lowe, and a foul is called.
Dick, I don't think at this stage of the ball game that Pepperdine is as used to playing against a team that plays as hard as North Carolina State is playing.
Foul was on Dane Subtle. There was Ernie Myers, a freshman from New York City. And coming back in is Grant Gondrazik, sophomore guard from Boulder, Colorado. So Ernie Myers seeing his first action. He got his chance when Derek Wittenberg was injured with a broken foot and missed 14 games. And averaged nearly 20 points a game as a starter. Lowe going to Myers. Myers a pretty good scorer, and maybe Valvano is looking for help off the bench. He tried Terry Gannon. No one has really set the pace scoring-wise in this game. Lorenzo Charles making a move to the hoop. And despite good defense by Orlando Phillips playing with 3 fouls, Charles gets the basket, and NC State again is up by 4. Wittenberg has 10 for NC State. Anger has 10 for Pepperdine. They're high scorers. NC State in the zone. Lowe and Myers all over Anger.
That's a great
inside is Orlando Phillips. Orlando Phillips, great field goal shooter, but all from close in. Brings Pepperdine to within 2.
That State's biggest concern in his zone defense is Sadler getting the ball in the middle. That's why I'm a little surprised that they've gone ahead and extended it so much.
Lorenzo Charles missed. The rebound is Victor Anger, and the Waves trying to pick up the tempo a bit. Subtle, guarded well by Wittenberg, and Victor Anger misses outside. The rebound is Lorenzo Charles. Charles lead pass Wittenberg. Wittenberg, Waves come back and tie him up. Gondrzic is on low. 11 and a half minutes remaining. Second half. Myers has the ball knocked away. Fine defensive play by Sadler. Here comes Dane Suttle. Waits for the player to pass and misses the shot. NC State save. Fine play by Lowe. Lowe saved it to McQueen. Suttle is still ice cold for Pepperdine. The baseline shot no good by Myers, and we'll have a whistle and a foul. It's against North Carolina State's Cozell McQueen. Coming back in is Thurl Bailey. Was out briefly. Bailey has scored none.
The key for Pepperdine right now, Dick, with the extended zone, is to get the ball inside to Sadler. Every time he's gotten it, something's happened. He's scored. He's fed off a nice pass. Let's see if they recognize that and get the ball to him.
Coming in for the Wolfpack, number 24, Terry Gannon.
Cozell McQueen now with 3 personal fouls. He becomes the first NC State player with 3. Time remaining, 11:09, 35-33. NC State leading Pepperdine. Inside to Phillips. Fighting inside Anger and Terry Gannon, who's come in the game. Looks like both coaches are trying to find the combination. Gondrzic has been in. He's a street shooter. Trying to get someone hot in this game, and no one has been. And foul going inside is Lorenzo Charles. We have not had anyone with a hot hand in this game on either team. Foul is on Mark Wilson, his second foul. Team fouls right now for North Carolina State, 3 and 4 for Pepperdine in this half. Out to McQueen, 6'11". Steve mentioned big men are finesse players predominantly. Thurl Bailey, also 6'11". Gannon to Wittenberg. Really collapsed fast on Wittenberg. Gannon misses, and Gondrzic gets the rebound. Pepperdine, remember, the 3rd best shooting team in the country.
There it is.
Good and a foul, and Sadler again. If they would only listen to Steve Grody, maybe they could get something going earlier. He said go to Sadler, who was effective early. Now the question is, can he make the 3-point play now? 35-35.
In this game, no way, but when's the last time Pepperdine was ahead in this game? Or have they been? He can put them on top now, and you can't believe it.
Pepperdine had the lead through most of the first 10 minutes of this first half. They had a 10-2 lead early. Cozell McQueen now has 4 personal fouls, and so Jim Valvano has to go to his bench and bring in Alvin Battle, the junior from Rocky Mount, North Carolina, who saw action in the first half. Dane Suttle waiting for Suttle to get started. Sadler 2 for 4 from the line. And he makes the 3-point play, and Pepperdine has the lead, 36-35. Nearly halfway through the second half. Thurl Bailey, they collapsing well on Wittenberg. I think Pepperdine's done a fine job shutting down Derrick. Lowe penetrating. Over to Thurl Bailey, wide open baseline. And Lowe made it happen by penetrating the lane. Thurl Bailey now with 11 points, high score in the game. And so it's 37-36 now. Looking at the field goal percentage. Unusual for both teams, particularly Pepperdine.
There you see Suttle now. Finally, first time they've had a perimeter shot go down in quite a while. But you saw, they passed it around the perimeter, looking inside. When Sadler creates in there, then it'll open up the outside.
11 points for Suttle. And Pepperdine, goaltending will be called against Victor Anger, and you can credit the basket to Thurl Bailey. So Pepperdine, back and forth they go. And 39-38 NC State. North Carolina State leading Pepperdine 39-38. And if Pepperdine can come back in this game, they'll need, of course, the outside shooting of Suttle, but the inside play of Bill Sadler, who has 11 points. And the New York player who gives Herrick some gray hairs once in a while can also show well. Quite a showman inside. He may be the key man in there.
I think he's going to be. He's the type of player that Herrick will let go. He's either going to make good plays or bad plays, but at least go in there and make something happen. In this game, more than probably any other one, that's important. We got to get something going here for Pepperdine.
9:15 remaining. Team shooting below 40%, both of them. Sadler working inside, tries one of his moves and draws the foul. They'll call it on Battle. And Sadler will go to the line. So obviously, you got to go with the hot hand. In this case, if you want to call a hot hand, it would have to be Bill Sadler.
I've never seen so many reverse pivots on one move in my life. I don't know if he walked in there. He did it so quick, I don't even think the NC State people know. But once again, you know, he drew the foul.
Sadler on the line. Now we can say he's a good free throw shooter. Before he missed it when I said it. 5 team fouls on NC State for Battle, his second. And a chance now with our 5th tie of the game. And now it's untied as the Waves take a 40-39 lead. They led 15-14 with 10 minutes gone in the first half. And moments ago regained the lead. North Carolina State had held that slim margin.
It's always so interesting to me to see what teams do when they come out of a timeout. That time Pepperdine went into their best player on tonight, Bill Sadler.
Lowe outside hits the shot. He has been reluctant to take that outside shot, but Sidney Lowe averaging over 12 points a game. Known for his playmaking abilities. Gondrzek way outside. 41-40 NC State in a seesaw game now. 8:35 remaining in the second half. Princeton upset Oklahoma State 56-53 in the first game. So the Ivy League champions will move on to face Boston College of the Big East in one of the games Sunday here at Corvallis. Nevada, Las Vegas, the Runnin' Rebels at 28-2 will play the winner of this ball game. Jerry Tarkanian's crew waiting to see who survives.
Now this is the most patient Pepperdine has been in the entire ball game. Let's see if they can get a good shot and if they'll wait for a good shot now.
Wilson, the playmaker. Suttle trying to get free. Gondrzek playing a small forward and steps called against Bill Sadler. So NC State, after all that time, will take over. 7:55 remaining in the second half. 41-40, the Wolfpack lead. North Carolina State 20-10, won their last 4. 7 of their last 9. Struggled during the year. Wittenberg was out. Now we'll have a foul away from the basket. It's on Gondrzek, and that will be the 5th team foul against Pepperdine. So both teams now with 5 team fouls in this half.
Foul number 5.
Turnovers have been about even. Pepperdine 9, and NC State has turned the ball over 7 times. Thurl Bailey out to Wittenberg. We have really not had a fast break basket in this ball game. Wittenberg driving inside, using his bulk, misses. Dane Suttle coming down with it, and the Waves continue to slow it up. Anger from the corner. Gondrzek tips it up and in. Good hustle by the 6'4" swingman, Grant Gondrzek. And Pepperdine regains the lead, 42-41. So the game goes back and forth.
It just takes a while for it to go back and forth. But the crowd, for the first time on that basket, got a little excited. You get the feeling that they're for the West Coast team here.
Sometimes this neutral crowd, for the most part, always decides who they like. Jerry Tarkanian, whose Runnin' Rebels will play the survivor here. 6:58 remaining. 42-41, Pepperdine leading, and it's really anyone's game. Pepperdine leading 42-41, biggest lead for them, 8 points early, 10-2. Jim Harrick, West Virginia native, high school coach in Los Angeles, and assistant at UCLA. Jim Valvano, a New York City native, coach at Iona and New Rochelle, New York, his 3rd year at North Carolina State. Under 7 minutes to go in the second period. Gannon, Barry Gannon 24, Wittenberg 25. 3 guards in there again for North Carolina State, along with Thurl Bailey and Lorenzo Charles. Charles passed up the shot, not going to challenge Phillips.
He's been rather effective inside, though. He surprised me. He's played well.
Wittenberg shooting top of the key with Wilson in his face, and Derek Wittenberg now has 12 points in the game. We've had 8 lead changes and 5 ties in the game tonight. 6:15 remaining, second period, and they go inside a foul. Orlando Phillips is fouled. This one is against Sidney Lowe, and for Lowe, that's his second personal foul. Keep in mind that Pepperdine's starting front line of Sadler, Phillips, and Anger each have 3 personal.
Now this was a good call. It was a good pass. They threw the lob. Lowe came in for the defensive help from the weak side, but he's got to let the offensive man come down on the ground. When he landed, he fell in the low. That's a block on him.
Orlando Phillips, native of San Francisco. You saw the graphic. He's averaging over 20 points a game, and Phillips right now has 6 in the ball game. But the Waves of Pepperdine in Malibu in California have the lead 44-43. 6:05 to go. One of these teams will go home. The other will play Nevada, Las Vegas Sunday in the second round. Thurl Bailey guarded, but goes up with a shot anyway. And over Victor Angle. Last time, 2 times, NC State has scored. They've had defenders in their face, and they've hit the shot.
Well, you can see State when they come down, they're going inside to Bailey because he can score, or they go inside to Charles because Phillips is in foul trouble.
Gondrezick trapped out to Wilson. Wilson trying to penetrate. The pass inside knocked away and taken down by Derek Wittenberg.
If I've been surprised and impressed with anything, it's been the quick hands of the NC State defenders. They've come up with the loose balls. They knocked away passes that looked like they were going to result in layups.
5 minutes, 20 seconds remaining. Gannon, Lowe, and Wittenberg. They want to go to Bailey, maybe. He's hit his last 5 shots. NC State by a point. We've had 10 lead changes, 6 ties in the ball game.
Well, they're into a little bit of a delay game now. They've got their 3 guards in there. They may decide to run off a minute and then go for the score.
Wilson on Wittenberg. Gondrezick on Lowe. Lowe going to the hoop. He's penetrated effectively once. That shot is deflected by Phillips, taken down by Pepperdine. Looking to take the lead again. And now a technical foul has been called. Technical foul against North Carolina State's Derek Wittenberg. Sidney Lowe.
Derek Wittenberg.
Let's see what happens here. Lowe is still on the ground.
On the court.
That is not Lowe.
That's Lowe.
Yes, I'm sorry. Sidney Lowe.
I can't tell yet what seems to be wrong. I thought he got hit in the head.
The man down, number 35, Sidney Lowe of North Carolina State.
Let's see where he gets hit.
Watch for 35. There he goes down and apparently hit his head.
At 12:50 between Nevada, Las Vegas, and
from a low angle. He got tripped up inside. Gondrezick was guarding him.
It's going to be his knee. Right there, right there. It's going to be that right knee.
Sidney Lowe limps to the bench. The man that North Carolina State can least afford to lose. They already had 2 guards in there, in Gannon and Wittenberg. 4:43 to go in the second half.
It's the UNLV people who are making the most noise.
It's tough to make a lot of noise in a game that was advertised as a run and gun contest. 2 teams that like to run, and if any team was going to slow it up, it was State. And I think State is looking for the break more than Pepperdine is.
I think Pepperdine is very, very tentative. They just haven't come up with the loose balls. They've been dominated on the boards. They've had a lot of shots blocked. When these type of things happen, you get a little tentative. You'll see when they get the ball, even if they get a clean rebound, they don't hit the outlet, go to the middle, and run the ball down the floor. They're tentative. They're walking it down. You can see over here on the sidelines, both coaches have got to be befuddled. I can't believe they've ever been in a game like this.
They may be befuddled, and we are befuddled, but I'll tell you one thing. When you think that Dane Suttle is not hitting his shots, and that Pepperdine is hitting 39, 40% of their shots, they're playing the Atlantic Coast Conference champions. You started the game by saying they have a mission here. They want to knock off the ACC champs. Pepperdine wants to show they're on the map. They're trailing by 1 point in a seesaw game. I think Pepperdine has to like their position, even though they're not playing their style.
I would guess. I don't know. You know, it's obviously coming down to the last 4 minutes. I just, hey, I'm supposed to know what's going on here, and I can't figure this out.
I don't know if the coaches have, because they had the halftime intermission to try to work it out.
Well, and obviously, you made the good point. They've run people in and out. They're looking for something to happen, and they just can't get it. I still believe that they need to get the ball to Sadler, although he's on the bench right now. When he gets it, things seem to happen.
Shooting the technical foul, which was called on Wittenberg as Suttle. He's 2 for 4, by the way, from the field in the second half after going 3 for 11. He's the man who makes it go. We have our 7th tie of the game, and on the bench, Bill Sadler, the man that Steve Grody says and has proved to be effective when he's been in there going inside. But instead, they have Wilson, and actually a 3-guard offense for both teams when Lowe is in there. Lowe is back in there, and he seems all right.
Now, when they trap this ball on the perimeter here, they need the ball in Suttle's hands. He can penetrate and go to the basket.
When we get down 4 minutes and 20 seconds, Wilson has been key down the stretch. Gannon is for Pepperdine. Gannon has been important in the clutch situations for North Carolina State, other than the stars that we've talked about. Foul. Sidney Lowe. No, it's a timeout called for by Pepperdine. Timeout with 4:08 remaining.
Good timeout. Obviously, nobody knew what they wanted to do.
We're back live at Gill Coliseum in Corvallis, Oregon. Dick Stockton and Steve Grody. We have 4:08 remaining in the second half. And North Carolina State and Pepperdine are tied 45-45. No one has really moved out to a big lead. The shooting has been hovering around 40% in a game in which both clubs have played deliberate style, not the running style they're used to. You look at the timeout story, Steve.
Well, they were very tentative. No one seemed to have an idea of what to do, and now he's got Sadler back in the game. When Sadler gets his hands on the ball, he's about the only one that does anything with it.
The only one that has really made things happen in any kind of continuity tonight for either side. Coming outside is Victor Anger, 52. Suttle going to the hoop, double teamed nicely by Wittenberg and Bailey. NC State playing very tight defense with 3:43 to go. Pepperdine looking to win the first round for the 4th straight time in their appearances in the NCAA championship. Moving the ball around. No one is going to try and run now.
This is the best offensive pattern that they've run the entire game. Let's see if they certainly are.
They're looking for Sadler, and NC State, particularly Lorenzo Charles, is trying to stop inside. And Orlando Phillips got free of Thurl Bailey, and Pepperdine has a lead by a bucket. You look at the clock remaining here.
Good no call. I thought Phillips faked the charge. I'm sorry, Bailey. It was a good no call. 2 points. Pepperdine up by 2.
11 lead changes in the ball game. We've had 7 ties. NC State's biggest lead was 6. Pepperdine had the early lead, and I think Pepperdine right now may be at the highest they have felt since the start of the game when they took the 10-2 lead, because here they are leading by a basket, 3:08 to go, knowing that in this kind of clock, if they can get the rebound and not let NC State score, they may be really going to the delay game.
I've said it before, and I'll say it continually. I like to watch teams come out and play after a timeout. That was the best offensive sequence they've had the entire game. Now they get another timeout, and now they get to set their defense on the other end. Look for them maybe to do something different now. They're up 2 points. There haven't been a lot of points scored in this ball game. A 2-point lead is...
There's Andy Geiger, who's the athletic director at Stanford, television committee for the NCAA, and he is the NCAA representative here for this West region. You're watching first round action. Princeton beat Oklahoma State in an upset in the first game, as Princeton's deliberate style just thwarted Oklahoma State's running style. And we could have another surprise here if Pepperdine can hold on to their lead. Timeouts remaining could be key. North Carolina State has only 2 team fouls right now. NC State has 6, 1 more, and there's a penalty, and Pepperdine has 5. An interesting, strange ball game from the start tonight.
And who would have guessed that Pepperdine wouldn't be in foul trouble at this stage of the game after all the fouls they had early?
All of their frontline starters picked up 3 fouls, and they really stayed out of foul trouble in the second half. Terry Gannon, good outside shot, number 24, low 35, the playmaker. Wittenberg has really been handcuffed in this half. He has not been a factor. Into Thurl Bailey, back to Gannon, the good outside shooter, ties the ball game up. 47 all with 2:40 remaining. So Gannon, a key man on the floor at the end, and Wilson for Pepperdine. He has the ball now.
I'll tell you what, every time Pepperdine has taken the lead, NC State has answered with a big basket.
8 deadlocks. Suttle misses. Phillips the rebound. Sadler into Anger, and the rebound, the basket. The basket will not count apparently. Basket will not count.
This ball was tipped in. They were asking for a little bit of goaltending, I believe. Once again, when you get the ball to Sadler in the lane area, he's so creative. He gets the ball to the open man. This is what NC State feared in the zone defense.
That's the 3rd personal foul on Lorenzo Charles, but the 7th team foul on the Wolfpack. And coming into the ball game is Kozel McQueen, the starting center. And going out is Terry Gannon. And on the line now is Victor Anger. Five of 10 from the free throw line. Pepperdine 9 of 15 from the line. North Carolina State 3 of 9. This has not been a game for shooters in any stretch of the imagination. Anger misses them both. 5 of 11. Loose ball. NC State trying to take the lead. 2:18 to go. Keep in mind, we have a timeout. 2:14 to go. Timeout called by NC State, and they have 1 left. Timeouts remaining. NC State has 1. They've got to make that one count, Steve. Pepperdine has 4. Now the score is tied. 2:14 to go. You're Jim Valvano.
Well, I think you got to look into Thurl Bailey. Pepperdine hasn't given us any indication that they will change their defense. They've come out in a man-to-man every single time. Bailey has been the one who's been able to turn and shoot over the defense. In addition, he's been able to make the pass over the defense.
You know, NC State has not gone to the free throw line at all in this half. 2:14 to go. Wittenberg has been totally stopped in the second half. He has scored 4 points, has 12 for the game. Thurl Bailey, Valvano directing his team. Bailey with 15, the high score for NC State. Sadler with 13, Suttle for 12, and Anger for 10, leading scorers for Pepperdine.
NC State's got their 3 guards in there. Hey, they might run time.
Well, that's it. Will they run it down and take that last shot? They have not gone to the line, so they haven't worked the ball inside at all in this half. Low outside, and a tough man-to-man defense by Pepperdine right now. This is what Pepperdine likes to play, the man.
Well, they're in their motion offense, which indicates layup only.
1:50. You watch the clock. At the conclusion of the game, Steve and I'll select Chevrolet player of the game from each team. NC State, one of these teams will move into the second round. One of these teams will go home. North Carolina State, a sleeper in this tournament, many people said. They've got to get by the pesky Waves of Pepperdine. We're tied at 47. .118 to go. Wittenberg outside.
Important right now for Pepperdine to stick to man-to-man. If they double team, they're going to get burnt because they've got the defense spread all over the place.
Winding down to a minute to go. Now Gannon is in the game. He has taken a lot of the clutch shots. Wittenberg has been covered well. Suttle is on Gannon. Under a minute to go. NC State playing for the last shot to get into the second round.
Well, they'll call timeout now, probably with about 20 seconds to play.
Gondrezick is on Wittenberg, and the Waves are playing tight man-to-man, trying to free someone. 47-47. We have had 8 deadlocks in the game, 11 lead changes. No team has really had any steam going in this game.
I'll tell you what, the mismatch right now is when Wittenberg gets the ball. He's got Gondrezick, a lot of quickness in his favor.
Gondrezick has the height. Wittenberg has the quickness. You're right.
They're not going to call timeout. They're going to just, oh, here it comes.
14 seconds, 12 seconds, and the timeout is called. So now NC State will set up the last shot of the game. Now Thurl Bailey is the man you've talked about, and of course if you go into Thurl, you have a chance of being fouled and going to the line, which they haven't gone to in this half. Wittenberg has been totally covered, and if we're going to take a pick here, I don't know. If Gannon can get free, Gannon has been a clutch outside shooter for him.
I'll tell you what they'll do. If they've got their 3 guards in there, they'll have them on the outside. They'll have Charles and Bailey on the inside. They'll put a shooter on each side. They'll throw it inside. If they get sag off, Gannon and Wittenberg will probably be on the wings to shoot the jumper. Now, if they've got to drive to the basket or they get the ball inside, Pepperdine should foul before the shot attempt and make them take it back out and throw it in bounds again, because that would not be in the, they would not be in the 1-and-1.
Good point. They have a foul to give to Pepperdine, and they can use that strategically with 12 seconds to go, and they want to use it at such a time whereby NC State does not have a lot of time following the foul to really set anything up.
Well, generally what will happen, let's say they throw it inside to get it in the scoring position. That'll usually happen with about 6 or 7 seconds left. When he gets that ball with 6 seconds left, if you foul him right away, now they've got to go back out, onto the sideline and start all over again.
Jim Harrick, last 2 years, is a record of 42-15. 9 years a high school assistant. He told us that if Pepperdine wins the game, it means a lot for the team, for the school. Doesn't hurt the coach either. We have seen coaches with big wins in NCAA championship play. All right, 12 seconds to go. Keep in mind, Pepperdine has a foul to give. Sidney Lowe is outside. Watching him is Wilson. Lowe almost loses the ball. He's in trouble. And with 3 seconds to go, the ball's out of bounds. It's Pepperdine ball. 2 seconds on the clock. And Pepperdine has a chance, and there's the timeout call by Harrick. Pepperdine calls timeout, and they can set up the winning shot with 2 seconds to play. And Sidney Lowe just got trapped and lost the ball out of bounds. A big break for Pepperdine.
It looked to me like they widened the floor. They were going to give Lowe a chance to penetrate the middle and kick the ball off. But that's a perfect situation. If he got beat, it was a type of offensive pattern where you could grab him as he goes by you.
All right, now, we remember Jim Harrick told us yesterday. I said, obviously, Suttle is the man in the clutch situation. He says the man that we like to go to is Mark Wilson. He has played the last 5 minutes of every game since his freshman year. He's a junior right now. He has been the man who has won games with the clutch shot late in the game. Number 4, Mark Wilson, and maybe they'll try to go to him right now. Dick Stockton, Steve Grody, live at the Gilt Coliseum at Corvallis, Oregon. The excitement has been at the finish of this game. We're tied at 47, 2 seconds to go. Pepperdine looking to get into the second round over NC State.
If this was a last-second shot situation where they could work for a good shot, I think they would give the ball to anybody who was open. But in this situation, you've got to set up a specific play. You've got to be able to make one pass and get a shot off. So somebody is going to be designated to get this pass.
The Waves still have 3 timeouts remaining, which is academic, really, with 2 seconds showing on the clock. Inbounding the ball will be Victor Anger, and it'll go to Wilson with 2 seconds. And, of course, the Waves are not really in a great spot to try anything. Wilson puts up the shot at the buzzer. It doesn't count, and we go into overtime.
I thought that the last 3 or 4 minutes of the ball game, Pepperdine operated most confidently as they have the whole game.
Wilson controls. Good observation. The game was tied at 47 for the final 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Phillips is number 34. Pepperdine working for the shot. Don't forget Sadler inside. He's been effective when they've gotten it in. And this time, Anger misses the layup. And it's going to go the other way. North Carolina State has a chance to take the lead.
They dodged a bullet right there. Midway through the first half, when they were in that 3-guard offense, Anger got 2 consecutive baskets when he was matched up with the guard inside.
That was a good play. He was clear inside, just didn't make the layup. Wittenberg with Terry Gannon, 2 good outside shooters. Gambling for the steal is Anger. Bailey tried to get inside for the pass. Waves playing tight defense, man-to-man all the way. 4:15 remaining in this first overtime session, tied at 47. North Carolina State, Atlantic Coast Conference champions, and Pepperdine, the West Coast Athletic Conference champion. 1 minute gone by in the overtime period. And it's been at 47 for quite a while now. Nearly 4 minutes. Inside, Lowe. Gannon throws it out.
That's what you can look for. They got the defense spread. They got the defense moving. They'll only take a good shot. But they got people that can take the ball to the basket. Lowe and Wittenberg will do that.
And there's Lowe taking the outside shot. He misses, and Anger gets the rebound. So now Pepperdine has the ball.
That surprises me, Dick.
Well, he was open, but of course, if you're going to keep the ball that far, you might as well go to your hot hand. 47 all, 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the overtime. And goaltending called. Orlando Phillips gets the basket, and Charles is called for goaltending. Pepperdine leads.
And the smile on the Pepperdine coaches' faces makes me believe that that's probably a play that worked a lot in the league. It's the first time we've seen it in this ball game.
That's our 12th lead change. You watch the clock. Our 5-minute overtime session. North Carolina State trailing by 2, and a whistle and a foul. It's against Anger, away from the ball. That's the 4th foul on Anger. And inbounding will be Lowe. Sadler, the big guy, comes out to meet Gannon. They have the 6'6" Sadler on Gannon at 6 feet.
In the first half, Pepperdine got beat badly in that situation when they went into a zone underneath the basket. This time they switched quickly into a man-to-man.
Lorenzo Charles in the crowd, goes up the ball, batted down by Orlando Phillips. Fine play by Phillips. Phillips and Charles have had some pretty good duels inside. So with 2:35 and running to go in the overtime session, Pepperdine with the ball and the lead, 49-47.
This is the first time Pepperdine has really been in command in this ball game. Let's see what they do. Will they hold it? Will they go? Will they take it to the basket?
Oh, Sidney Lowe commits the foul. 3rd personal foul. Coming back in the ball game, Cozell McQueen. Going out is Terry Gannon. So now NC State going back to 2 guards. Missing the free throw is Anger. Coming out, Sadler controls for Pepperdine. That's a big rebound for the Waves.
And a smart play to bring it back out and get it in the hands of a guard.
49-47, Pepperdine leading. We want to show the ACC, national television, that they're more than just a good team in their conference. They were 20-8 this year.
This might not be a bad time for a timeout. I'm not sure. Well, now they're into their offense. I couldn't tell at first if they knew that they wanted to stall the ball away or if they wanted to go to the basket.
Tuttle going in, and the shot deflected. Oh! Putting up the shot is Bill Sadler. We told you he was a showman, and Bill Sadler with a fancy shot gives Pepperdine a 4-point lead. 51-47 with 1:38 remaining. And a loose ball taken down in a foul against NC State. And Pepperdine is picking up some momentum. Bailey commits the foul, and the Pepperdine bench can smell something here. They can smell it.
Foul number 41, Thurl Bailey. That's his 3rd foul.
I'll tell you what, 2 free throws now, and they're in the driver's seat. And this would be the man you'd want on the line, Dane Suttle.
84.5% from the line for Dane Suttle. Bailey's foul is 3rd. 52-47, and the Pepperdine bench in their rooting session. The last time either side had a lead of 4 or more was with 3:35 remaining in the first half.
It took 43.5 minutes, but we finally got an emotional moment for Pepperdine.
Coming in for the Wolfpack, number 24.
And Terry Gannon comes back in, and North Carolina State's going to have to fire it up. 6-point lead, 53-47. The biggest lead Pepperdine had was 8 early in the ball game.
I look for Wittenberg to get the ball and take it to the hoop.
Wittenberg goes up with it and hits with it. So Wittenberg gets the basket, and a timeout immediately called by North Carolina State. That's the story. Pepperdine 53, NC State 49, 1:25 to go in overtime. We were tied at 47 going into the extra session.
Well, no question in my mind, when that time down the floor, Wittenberg was going to get the ball, take it to the hoop, either shoot it or dish it off to Bailey.
There you're looking. Suttle, the big scorer, along with Phillips. Anger has played a fine game, and if Anger plays a good game for Pepperdine, that really takes some of the pressure off of Suttle and Phillips.
Well, Pepperdine people will tell you when Anger plays well, that kind of brings everything together. He's had an outstanding game.
NC State story, Wittenberg, who hit that last shot, 7 for 16 from the field. Bailey, 7 for 17. So it comes down to this. 1:25 remaining. North Carolina State, after winning the ACC championship, an overtime victory against Carolina, victory against Ralph Sampson in Virginia. Coming in at, Jim Valvano said, an emotional high, but Pepperdine, as you said at the top, they have something to prove. They're on a mission here.
They are. They've got a cause. They've got a 4-point lead. Now remember, that was North Carolina State's last time out.
Jim Valvano.
So Valvano had to plan for the next 2 or 3 different possessions, Dick, because there's no more timeouts left. He's got no more timeouts.
There is Sadler, been the most effective inside player for the Waves. 53-49. Wilson controls, and Gannon fouls him from behind. And North Carolina State over the limit, and Wilson will go to the line to shoot one in the penalty.
His first foul.
Well, I can guarantee you, almost every time down the floor now, when they get the ball on offense, Wittenberg is going to get it. He's going to try to drive the lane. He'll pull up and shoot the jumper. Everything will be dictated off what Wittenberg does when he gets the ball.
These are big free throws. Keep in mind, North Carolina State out of timeouts. Pepperdine, people like Suttle, who obviously did not show what he could do in this game, which was a kind of an unusual contest. Pepperdine with a chance now to move along. Out of Las Vegas, waiting in the wings, and the bench of North Carolina State. They were beaten in the first round last year by Tennessee Chattanooga. Gannon outside hits the shot. 55-51. Pressure again, full court pressure. And going around is Wilson, and the foul by Lorenzo Charles. Charles with his 4th foul. And Mark Wilson will go to the line to shoot one in the penalty. And the Waves are making it count from the free throw line here at the tail end. We're in overtime with 1:10 remaining. 55-51, Pepperdine.
And here's the point you made. Mark Wilson has been in the last 5 minutes of every ball game since he was a freshman. Primarily when they've had the lead and they're putting the game away, because he can go to the line and make the pressure free throw. He doesn't turn it over. He can handle it.
We could be on the way to seeing 2 upset winners in the first round in Corvallis. Princeton surprised Oklahoma State 56-53. Trailing by 6 points. Wittenberg fires it up, no good. Bailey out of bounds. And it's Pepperdine ball with exactly a minute to go in overtime, and you can sense it. Gondrzick and the rest of the Pepperdine players.
Well, they've got to get a steal to get back in it now. I don't think they can win it if they just keep putting them at the free throw line. There it is.
By Lowe. Gannon has it, and a foul. Called a foul on Orlando Phillips. And that's the last thing that Jim Harrick wants his team to do, is foul.
But they lucked out. That's only the 6th team foul, I believe. Oh, that was the 7th. They just put it up.
Sidney Lowe, who's had a brilliant career. Only Phil Ford, great North Carolina guard. Besides Lowe, had more than 700 assists in a career. Sidney Lowe over 700 assists and 1,000 points. And could be the last minute of his outstanding career. Derek Wittenberg, same for him, outstanding performer. Thurl Bailey, who led his team in scoring and rebounding 3 consecutive years, reaching the end of the line. But not so for Pepperdine. They're looking ahead, perhaps, if they hold the lead with 57 seconds.
I was just going to say, hold on here now.
Nevada,
There's
Las Vegas.
57 seconds left. They're on the line. Now, Pepperdine's forced to call a timeout. This gives NC State a chance to regroup. They don't have any timeouts. 2 free throws, and it's a 4-point ball game with a minute to play. This is far from over.
NC State hasn't gone to the free throw line at all in the second half of the overtime period. North Carolina State is just going to have to foul at every turn if they don't make the steal right away. They don't have any timeouts, and of course that could be.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, that, you know, if they don't get the steal, they can't let 10-15 seconds run off the clock looking for the steal. They've got to put them on the line.
Gannon will go to the line, and the As you just saw in the graphic, the first free throws by North Carolina State in the second half. Terry Gannon,
24.
he's a 60% shooter from the line.
1-1.
Shooting one in the penalty. 5-point lead. They go for the other. Try to knock it down to 4 with 57 seconds to go. NC State's going to have to press full court right here. Try for the steal in a hurry. Sadler looking for help. He finds Anger, and Anger is fouled immediately. That's the only way to do it. Sidney Lowe commits the foul. Harrick is yelling for 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a little too close. When you grab, then you're coming really too close, and they're going to give him 2 shots. This is really a big mistake. All you got to do is reach in there and slap at the guy.
4 fouls on Lowe. And coming into the ball game, Lorenzo Charles.
Lacey Thompson. At the line, number
56 seconds showing on the clock. So Victor Anger, who shoots nearly 75% from the free throw line, has had his troubles, though, in this game from the line.
Boy, if he makes this one now, it's a real big mistake. They put him on the odd number, forced them to make 3 baskets.
1 for 5. 5-point lead for Pepperdine. NC State has to get the ball up in a hurry. Lowe feeds Charles. Charles gets the bucket. Pepperdine did not want to foul, and Wilson is fouled by Lowe, and Lowe fouls out of the ball game. So Lowe fouls out, having scored 4 points, 8 below his season's average, and an outstanding career for Sidney Lowe as he fouls out of the ball game. The smartest player that Jim Valvano ever coached. And the only time he'd ever come off the floor is when he graduates. Hoped it wouldn't end this way by fouling out.
Fullback number 12 is George McLean.
But he's out of the game, and coming in now, Wilson, 4 for 4 from the line.
All down the stretch, make it 5 for 5. This is the kid they try to get the ball into. As soon as the ball goes through the basket on the one end, they try to get it in his hands on the inbounds pass.
George McLean, number 12, replaces Lowe. Makes 1 of 2. Charles the rebound. 59 to 55. 42 seconds to go. McLean throws it right into the hands of Wilson, but gets the ball back. Gannon puts a fake on. Misses the shot. Tipped up. Phillips has it for Pepperdine. 30 seconds to go, and the foul on McLean. All the Waves have to do is make their free throws, and they can salt it away, but they have not been very sure from the line in the last couple of minutes.
I'm a little surprised that when the free throw was missed, Wittenberg ran to the wing. I'm surprised Wittenberg didn't wait in the backcourt and get the ball, because when McLean brought it across, the first person he looked to was Wittenberg. By then it was too late. They had overplayed him.
Here is Dane Suttle from the free throw line. Outstanding shooter, misses the front end. 26 seconds to go, 59 to 55. Bailey comes back, and it's a 2-point game, 59-57, and another foul. That is McLean fouling Dane Suttle. Now Suttle is still upset because he missed the front end of the 1-and-1. Great foul shooter, and he'll have a chance to redeem himself. Jim Valvano trying to see whether his team can pull this one out. 59 to 57. Pepperdine leading, 20 seconds to go.
At the line once again, number 14, Dane Suttle, 1-and-1.
Well, I'll tell you what, couldn't ask for more pressure than right here. Missed it.
He missed the front end again. 18 seconds, no timeouts for NC State. They're going to have to set up the play to try to tie the game. Wittenberg working against Suttle, and they call the foul on Suttle, and NC State can tie it up. Wittenberg will go to the line. Dane Suttle, who's been the heart and soul of Pepperdine all year, and Sidney Lowe at the sidelines. All he can do is cheer on, and Pepperdine will call a timeout. And who would believe in this strange ball game, Steve, that Dane Suttle, who's all everything for Pepperdine, would miss 2 front ends of a 1-and-1 that could almost put this game away for the Waves.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he makes these 2, I don't know. Well, the question is now on NC State's part, what kind of defense are they going to play? They tie it up. Probably what they might do is give token pressure so they can't run the ball down the floor uncontested, use up a little bit of time, and then maybe fall back into a zone. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. The thing is, if you fall back into a zone, you give them a chance for the long jumper.
I know one thing, Steve. Whoever wins this game will go into the dressing room and say, whew.
Thank you.
They'll say, I'm glad that one is over, because this one has been a struggle. 59-57. Wittenberg has not gone to the free throw line at all in this game. He is a 77% free throw shooter. Jimmy Harrick has seen his team take a 6-point lead in this overtime at 57-51, and they have been outscored 6-2, and there's the man of the hour right now.
Now, it's important for Pepperdine. They come out of that timeout huddle with their heads hanging. They got a 2-point lead. They can't lose the game right now. Their heads are hanging. They got to get ready to play the last 9 seconds. These 2 free throws go in. They got to get the ball in and execute a play. They've got to be ready.
Wittenberg will be on the line.
Now, one thing NC State talked about is don't go over the back here for the rebound.
He missed the free throw, and there with the rebound, and the ball drops. It's good by Cozell McQueen. We have a tie at 59. 3 seconds to go. Dane Suttle loses his balance, fires it up, and we go into double overtime.
Pepperdine does not look like they're ready to play.
Lowe, not of course in there. He fouled out of the game. Tip is controlled by Pepperdine. They've controlled every tip in this game. Mark Wilson. Orlando Phillips. Guarded by Cozell McQueen. Right now, the hero, unsung hero, blocked by Bailey out of bounds, going up with Sadler, and it is still Pepperdine ball. Keep in mind the timeout story. Each team now has an additional timeout, so NC State has 1, and Pepperdine has 3. Foul story remains the same. Both teams over the limit. Another block by Thurl Bailey, and unable to save the ball is Wittenberg, who almost got hurt there. So Pepperdine still has it.
They're trying to force the ball inside. I would bet they would love to see Suttle come up with one of his patented jumpers right now.
Pepperdine in this game. They had a chance to wrap it up, and they couldn't, despite the fact Suttle has not been the key factor he's been all year. And Orlando Phillips gets the basket and the foul, and it was Suttle's needle-eye pass that got the ball to him for the basket that puts him in front.
Let's see how this play happens. Take a look inside. And you're right. This is one great pass. Open for a split second. Now, where does the foul happen? Right there. Grabbed him on the shoulder.
Cozell McQueen fouls out of the ball game. He scored only 2 points, but they were the 2 points to allow North Carolina State to move into the second overtime. So Cozell McQueen is out. 9 deadlocks, 11 lead changes. Biggest lead of the game for Pepperdine was 8 points. That was well early at 10-2. And the largest lead for North Carolina State was 6. Here's the foul on Orlando Phillips again.
Well, like I said, this is, you got to believe this is the type of play that they've seen all year long in the WCAC. We haven't seen it much in this ball game.
Phillips, not a good free throw shooter, misses the chance for the 3-point play. The Waves lead by 2. Terry Gannon in the ball game, so it's Gannon and Wittenberg outside at the guard position. Bailey, Lorenzo Charles, and in the ball game is Alvin Battle, junior forward center. Minute gone by now in overtime. Missing inside was Battle, and now Pepperdine with a 2-point lead has the ball, and this is the way the first overtime started. Inside, tipped away Phillips, and will call the foul on Dane Suttle. He fouled Wittenberg. Bring you up to date on what North Carolina State has had to do all year. They've had to bounce back in adversity. They lost Wittenberg, key player with a broken foot in the 10th game, lost 5 of the next 6. And then they won 8 of the next 10. The turning point was an upset victory over North Carolina without Wittenberg. The Sops had a chance to mature. Jim Valvano was very pleased with rookie freshman Ernie Myers off the bench. Wittenberg returned, and they got hot at the finish and won the championship. It's been an uphill climb for the Wolfpack. Wittenberg can tie the game here. And the road to Albuquerque could be a rocky road for some teams. NC State just trying to survive here.
Really, the team that comes out of this game is a survivor, believe me. Look at this.
Rebound by Thurl Bailey, and the ball batted out of bounds. It's still North Carolina State possession. And there, Sidney Lowe, his career is over unless North Carolina State can win this game, but he's fouled out of this ball game. Second chance. This is a second chance ball game for the Wolfpack. Less than 3.5 remaining in the second overtime. Wittenberg misses it. NC State all over the ball. They still have it. Pepperdine is cheering. They thought they had it wrapped up. They were up 57-51 with 1:10 remaining.
Dick, I don't know who to be more impressed with. Pepperdine being in this ball game, letting all these things happen to them, second chance baskets. They get one 6-point lead, then NC State comes back.
Or North Carolina State to come back the way they have.
Yeah, it's just, you know.
61-60, Wittenberg with a move, and foul is on Suttle.
You just can't handle Wittenberg.
4 fouls on Dane Suttle. Leading scorer, Sadler 15, Suttle 14 for Pepperdine. Thurl Bailey has 17, Wittenberg 15.
Well, this is why I thought right there at the first overtime that it would be best to get the ball into Wittenberg's hands. I don't think there's anybody that can guard him in a one-on-one situation. Maybe now look for Wilson to change men and guard Wittenberg the rest of the ball game.
Wittenberg ties it up, can put NC State in front. There's Gondrazic. Grant Gondrazic on the bench. 10 ties in this ball game. Wittenberg can surpass his season's average with that free throw, and he does. NC State leading by 1, 62-61. Winner plays Nevada, Las Vegas Sunday. The loser goes home. Pepperdine with something to prove to knock off the ACC champs. State trying to keep it going as a dark horse team. Losing it out of bounds is Phillips. Off his foot, NC State has it. Herrick doesn't like the call.
I think more than not liking the call, he's mad at his own players. That was just an unforced error. He said, come on, let's play. It's NCAA tournament time, guys.
2:45 remaining in second overtime. State led 27-25 at the half. Regulation time finished at 47 apiece. First overtime, 59 all. Cozell McQueen with the follow-up shot on the missed free throw. Tied it up.
Now, they have gone on the switch. Wilson now on Wittenberg, probably more capable of handling him. But come on, Pepperdine. I'm sure that's what Herrick's saying. And we're in this ball game.
Suttle on Gannon. Wittenberg. And Wilson did the job on Wittenberg earlier in the game in the second half when Wittenberg was just about closed out, knocking the ball away. Wilson on the steal, and a foul is called. It's against Victor Anger of Pepperdine. Wittenberg is on the floor. Lorenzo Charles is on the floor. This has been an exhausting ball game for both these teams.
That was a great picture of Wittenberg on the floor. It gave you an idea of just how tired everybody is. Look at this. This is, you know.
Victor Anger has fouled out of the ball game. Anger has fouled out, scored 11 points, and is replaced by Grant Gondrazic. 6 rebounds for Anger as well. So McQueen and Lowe have fouled out for North Carolina State. Anger for Pepperdine. Valvano using up a bunch of towels here. Anger played well for the Waves tonight.
If you're on the Pepperdine staff, I don't know if you ever watch a replay of this game. You have 25 heart attacks.
Wittenberg. 2-point lead for North Carolina State. Look how the emotion changed from a minute to go in the first overtime when they were celebrating at the Pepperdine bench, and the NC State team felt that it would be a long trip back to Raleigh. Now it's the other way around as North Carolina State leads by 3. Winding down to 2 minutes to go. We're live here at Gill Coliseum, Corvallis, Oregon. The Waves of Pepperdine, 20-8 on the year. First round winners, their last 3 appearances. They had the lead in first overtime. No basket. The foul was before the shot.
No basket.
1:48 showing on the clock.
They got Gannon on Suttle.
Foul number 24.
Suttle
Jared
felt the
Gannon, his second
mismatch.
foul.
A little bit quicker, got a little bit better height advantage. He went right to the basket. That tells me he's back in the game.
Dane Suttle is on the line. The foul was on Terry Gannon, his second. So here is Suttle, who makes the front end. He had his problems at the line in the first overtime when Pepperdine was in the position to ice the ball game. 64-63. North Carolina State lead is 1.
They're in full court pressure now.
Bailey. Charles brings it across, and he's tripped by Suttle, and that is going to be his 5th personal foul too. So now they start falling off. Dane Suttle fouls out, having scored 16 points in the game, 7 below his season's average. Leading all-time scorer for Pepperdine goes to the bench, and maybe the last time in his career. Sidney Lowe fouled out earlier. Suttle was 5 for 17 from the field.
Well, I don't know that anybody had a good shooting night.
Wasn't a shooter's game.
It sure wasn't.
No matter what happened.
Survival of the fittest.
Just about what it is. 1:41 remaining in the second overtime session.
And you wonder maybe if playing in that shot clock now has NC State a little bit better prepared to play in a long game. They've had to run and run and run all during the regular season.
Dane Suttle from Los Angeles scored 20 points 20 or more times this year, but not tonight. Charles, who missed his first 4 free throws from the line, makes the first. And now both teams are hitting their free throws, and NC State lead is 3. We're in second overtime, first round action in the West region. Dick Stockton and Steve Grody to see who survives between North Carolina State and White. Pepperdine with the ball. Nevada, Las Vegas, and Jerry Tarkanian's running Rebels await the survivor. Carmel Stevens, who replaced Suttle in the game. Ball knocked away. Good defense inside by Wittenberg and Gannon. But coming out with it is Bill Sadler, and he goes in and gets through. He just took the ball, not to be denied, to the hoop.
And Charles did a good job of not fouling him. They couldn't afford a 3-point play. 1-point ball game.
1 minute to go now, and a foul this time against Mark Wilson. So we have had trips to the free throw line here. Sidney Lowe, the coach on the floor, and a little bit of coach on the sidelines right now for NC State.
That's his 3rd foul.
Exactly a minute to go. North Carolina State leads by 1. We're in second overtime. And I hope you've
At the line once again,
had a
25,
few
Derek Wittenberg.
cups, vats of coffee here to keep you up if you're
Put
watching
on
it.
another pot.
Timeout,
That's it,
Pepperdine.
timeout.
Pepperdine calls timeout. They have 2 remaining. When we come back, Wittenberg will go to the line. He's 5 for 6 from the line, all in the second overtime. We're in double overtime with a minute to go in the second session. West Region first round action. North Carolina State leading Pepperdine 66-65. Pepperdine in the first overtime period moved out to a 6-point lead with a minute to go. Couldn't hit the free throws to salt it away. And Kozel McQueen, rarely a scorer, made good on a follow-up on a missed free throw with 2 seconds to go to send it into second overtime. And Derek Wittenberg has camped out on the line in the second overtime session and now has 20 points in the ball game, 6 in the second overtime, all coming from the line. So he has really had it under pressure.
And that wouldn't surprise me.
And that one too dropped, 68-65. So the Waves still have to come back as they have last 3 times up the floor, trailing by 3. Gondrzic, the streak shooter.
And now they're in a zone defense. Going to force them to hit it from the outside.
Wilson, top of the key, misses the shot, gets the rebound, and off the glass, no good. Battling for the loose ball. And this time, it's Sadler. And Pepperdine calls a timeout with 37 seconds to go. And it was an alert Pepperdine team off the offensive boards. First Wilson, and then Bill Sadler, and now it's a 1-point game again, and each team has 1 timeout remaining.
Well, and this was the first time where we're seeing North Carolina State do it the entire game. This is the first time Pepperdine has been so aggressive on the missed shot attempt. Got a good pass inside. When's this all going to end?
Well,
we're on an odd number. 37 seconds left.
Look at the persistence for Pepperdine. They knew that if they didn't make it here, they weren't going to make it.
And who was it? It was Wilson. Wilson took the first shot and missed. Got the rebound, took the second shot and missed. And then it was the sub. Got the ball inside to Sadler again. And for the second time in a row, when Sadler's made the layup, NC State people have done a good job. Hands away, no three-point plays.
That sub is Carmel Stevens, who came in when Dane Suttle fouled out. So Sidney Lowe and Dane Suttle, two of the outstanding senior guards on each side, no longer a factor in this ball game. North Carolina State leading 68-67. They have the ball with 37 seconds. And you can see Mark Wilson is a man that rises to the occasion despite the missed shot. He kept it going for him.
The question is, the team that wins this game, will they practice tomorrow? Will they take the day off?
Yeah, well, they're on their way to playing almost half of another game. Nevada, Las Vegas awaits the winner here. The Runnin' Rebels with Sidney Green, Danny Tarkanian, the playmaker, the coach's son. Right now, we have 37 seconds here. Pressure by the Waves, full court. Wittenberg trapped and gets to Thurl Bailey. Gannon across the line, 30 seconds.
Can't wait too long.
Wittenberg trapped. They're going to have to do something. He's been up the line and will go again. And the foul committed by Mark Wilson, but why? A hot Derek Wittenberg.
They waited too long and they fouled the wrong guy. To me, you foul, if you don't steal the inbounds pass, you foul the guy who gets it. It was Charles. That's who I'd want to put on the line.
We're talking about Charles, a 53%. 68 from the line, certainly not in the same class as Wittenberg from the line.
You force that ball into a bad shooter's hands right off the bat, you put him right on the foul line.
Well, Pepperdine has used up its last timeout. 24 seconds remaining, and it seems that Pepperdine really has had the uphill climb in the second overtime session because they've had to come up the court trailing by 3 just about every time the last 2 minutes of this second period.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, if he misses a free throw, I've always felt that the easiest place to score in a ball game is off a missed free throw. Why? Because the team shooting the free throw has generally got their backline people on the lane. So if you get the ball out and you run it down the floor, you beat the shot blockers down the floor, you got a better chance taking it to the basket. So I would guess that off a missed free throw, that's the type of play they're going to talk about in the huddle.
Well, I don't know how many of you watching this game, and it's been tight, have been hanging in there. I know Brent Musburger must be on his 3rd urn of coffee back there at our studios in New York because Brent's got the scores and highlights that will really wrap up. I know this is going to be it in NCAA action tonight. We'll wrap up all of what's happened in what has been an upset-filled championship thus far. Keep in mind, the first game here in Corvallis tonight, Princeton defeated Oklahoma State in an upset 56-53. They'll play Boston College Sunday. And here's Wittenberg. 8 in a row from the free throw line in the second overtime period.
And they've really gotten the bounces.
Dane Suttle.
They got him at the free throw line. They got the big bounce when Kozel made his little shot to send it into the second overtime.
Pepperdine, now he misses the second part, 69-67, and the Waves have no timeouts remaining. 20 seconds, they bring it up. Carmel Stevens out to Wilson. Wilson could be key. Gondrazic, an outside shooter. 12 seconds to go. Intercepted, pass intercepted by Battle, and the foul against the Waves, and now North Carolina State is in a position to say, well, it was a struggle, but we survived that one.
Well,
pass right into the hands of Battle.
Foul number 54.
And the foul was on Bill Sadler, his 4th.
Once again, though, they got to make the free throw here. This is just, you know, this is from not playing much. That's just, you know, what do you say about a play like that? Threw it right into the hands of the defender.
The cheerleader now, Sidney Lowe, and a quiet, somber bench of Pepperdine. Terry Gannon. This is the free throw. 9 seconds to go. The Waves will try to send it into 3 overtime. Wilson fires it up.
Got it. No.
No, it's off. No good. The rebound. 1 second. This game is over. This game is over. North Carolina State won it. And the disappointment. Pepperdine had it in its hands in first overtime. North Carolina State came back.